for Texas Tech. Got one over Baylor in their last game Sunday. Then a loss on Saturday against Oklahoma, but a good bounce back. And now they're back at home sweet home in Knoxville. Freshman arm Derek Schaefer gets things underway. The 6'2 freshman from Cave Creek, Arizona, will make his first career start in his very young collegiate first season.
Schaefer got a little bit of experience this past weekend. Now getting a start in a midweek as a freshman. What do you think, he's feeling with his nerves? You think he's feeling some nerves?
As you mentioned, got that first outing out of the way. Got some bullpen time weekend one. That Saturday loss to Oklahoma. Pitched a third of an inning, gave up 2 hits, walked 1, and then got a strikeout to close things down. So a bit of a shaky start, but that first out of the way, right, Kaylin? Now you can maybe breathe. Good to get that first experience before now another big outing, your first career start.
Definitely. I'm sure he's feeling a little bit of nerves. I know I always did as a freshman anytime I got a start. But it is nice to get a little bit of experience this past weekend, get your feet wet, come out and just try to do the best you can in this midweek game.
Go head-to-head against a Bulldog lineup coming off a 145 hitting weekend on the road in Athens against Georgia. Were swept by the Bulldogs. A really impressive weekend for Georgia. As Schaefer misses up and inside, that's ball 4. So Cole Abrams, leadoff man for UNC Asheville, aboard here to start off this ball game.
Definitely not the way you would like to start off. You never want to walk the leadoff batter. Hopefully he can turn it around here and get ahead.
Get a bit of a shaky start for Schaefer in that outing on Saturday. Big venue, big-time team that really felt like a regional all weekend long for Tennessee. But again, freshmen, this Tennessee team have a lot of them that they want to get in the mix, especially early non-conference. It's about collecting data, having moments, and then learning from those moments, right?
Definitely. You want to get as many people in as many different places as you can early on in the season. Coach Vitello said they were going to be testing out some different lineups. They were going to be putting people in different positions just to see what works. You don't want to leave any stone unturned.
He's got the 1-2-3 here in the top of the first of this Bulldogs order. Cole Abrams earned the walk. Now Robbie Burnett stands in, the center fielder, poised for a massive year for this Bulldog squad. Preseason Big South Player of the Year. Powerful bat, 13 home runs a season ago.
That's definitely a player that Tennessee wants to keep an eye out for. Someone with a big bat like that.
Most successful hitter Burnett was in that series this past weekend. Swept at the hands of Georgia, hit 2 home runs, had 4 hits and 10 at-bats. In a weekend where UNC Asheville, their offense struggled. Shut out in their last game Sunday, 10-0 loss to Georgia. The 1-2 from Schaefer on the ground, and that's into right field. Base hit for the Big South preseason pick of the year. And he is 1 for 1 to start his afternoon in Knoxville. 2 aboard with no one out here in the opening frame.
Burnett pulling that pitch to the right side of the field. Just gets down and out of the way of Burke at first. UNC Asheville is definitely starting off the way that they would like to.
Schaefer again looking to settle in from the stretch. He has Dylan Bako, another impressive bat in this UNC Asheville lineup. The Bulldogs, they retain most of their guys from last season. Bako, a 5th-year veteran. 0 for 7 in 3 starts in opening weekend, looking for his first hit of the season in a big spot early. Asheville brings in a lot of veteran bats, so they're not going to be afraid to swing against this freshman. Schaefer tests his Tennessee defense early, who had a great weekend defensively in Dallas.
So many amazing defensive plays by the Tennessee Vols this weekend. Great pitch by Schaefer right there. Someone that really impressed me was Hunter Ensley this weekend. Some of the plays that he made in left field were phenomenal.
First strikeout of the afternoon for Schaefer. That's his second now of his career. That's how he ended his outing Saturday to Oklahoma. Got out of what was a 4-run 10th inning that gave the Sooners that win, the only loss on Tennessee's record here in the early going. Tony Vitello said after that loss of Schaefer, felt like that last pitch that he got that strikeout in this past Saturday, obviously his best pitch. And it's just growing confidence, first-year guy. But obviously, this staff has a lot of trust in him. Get this early midweek start in your first year.
It's exciting as a coaching staff when you can have that kind of confidence in a freshman, knowing everything that they're going to be capable of in the future, seeing how they're going to grow, and so trying to get them that experience early on.
1-1 count with Corbin Lanowitz standing in from the left side. 2 aboard still for the Bulldogs. Just 1 down. And Tennessee 6-2 winners over Texas Tech opening night. 5-1 loss to Oklahoma. And we're able to bounce back in a big way in that Sunday finale, 11-5 over Baylor. Results good enough to be crowned tournament champions of the Shriners Children College Showdown based on run differential. Just a lot of good talent. 3 teams ended up 2-1. Texas Tech and Oklahoma as well. Felt like a mini regional weekend 1 right off the bat. Great experience for a team in Tennessee to have a lot of new players.
Such good experience. It's interesting to think about a team going in and facing such good competition their first weekend out. That's not something that you usually see. Usually you start off with, maybe a little bit easier competition to kind of ease your way into it. But no, Coach Vitello was like, we're going to go all in hard and we're going to see what we're made of.
Schaefer on the 3-2. And Lanowitz sticking around. Bulldogs have not been afraid to swing on the freshman Schaefer early. Again, this past weekend, a lot of first out of the way for some of these Tennessee players like Schaefer, the freshman. Tennessee brings in a wealth of new players from the JUCO ranks, from Division I through the portal. They got their first outings in a Tennessee uniform. Another 3-2. Lanowitz survives to see one more. Already 20 pitches here, inning number 1 for Schaefer.
That is a lot of pitches so far. Hopefully he can find the zone or get that swing and miss.
Another 3-2 to the cleanup hitter, Lanowitz. Schaefer will step off. And the go-ahead lead runner is Abrams over on second.
I think that's one of the hardest parts about transitioning from high school to college is finding that college zone. It's so different from anything that you've experienced before, and adjusting to that is difficult.
High fly ball from Lanowitz. That's deep right field. Back at the wall is Kavaris Tears. He has it in the shade and all. Abrams able to at least tag up from second, but a productive second out of the inning.
That ball up in the zone hit high in the air. I'm sure it gave a few people some heart palpitations right at the wall, but Tears is there to make the catch.
This is a hitter's ballpark at Lindsey Nelson Stadium, specifically that short porch in right field. You catch one in the jet stream, watch out. Wind is blowing from right field to left, though. Could play a bit of a factor. Doesn't seem like it is too aggressive here this afternoon. It's just about perfect conditions, all you can ask for and more for a mid-February game. Temperatures high 50s, maybe even getting close to 60.
It is. It's an absolutely beautiful day for some baseball, and the wind is blowing in, like you said, slightly. So I know as a pitcher, that always made me feel pretty good to catch the ball up in the air, keep it from going out.
And Lindsey Nelson Stadium looking fantastic under the sun today, newly renovated. It's phase 1 of a couple of different phases for this ballpark. A lot of changes down the left field line. 0-1 to Cameron Johnson. Slices one over the head of Ethan Payne. That drops in for a base hit. Bulldogs on the board. Throw in. And they got the runner. Burnett trying to get to third. That'll end the inning. But UNC Asheville does strike through a half inning of work. It was an RBI single. First frame by Cameron Johnson. Turns things over to his pitcher, Michael Groves, also in the lineup, a two-way player. Gets to start this afternoon against the Volunteers, the junior, out of Holly Springs, North Carolina, his first outing of the season.
We had a conversation before the game started about two-way players, how you don't see that very often anymore. It's really interesting to see a pitcher who's also hitting for themselves.
Yeah, 8 outings a season ago as a sophomore, pitched 8 1/3, 12 strikeouts and 1 walk. So that's a good ratio in terms of limiting the free pass, striking out hitters. Got some action against Tennessee in this midweek matchup last year in late March.
Groves had some success last year in the matchup against Tennessee.
And 1 inning thrown, gave up 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks. 3 of those 12 strikeouts came against the Volunteers. Tough task, though, against this Volunteer offense that hopes to be the strength of this Tennessee team. Hunter Inslee in the leadoff spot. Floats one down that right field line. That's caught. Dylan Bako is there. Out number 1. Hunter Inslee spearheads this offense from Tony Vitello. 11 runs in their win over Baylor on Sunday. Team hit 4 home runs as a group in total in their first weekend. We'll see at least Dylan Dreiling and Christian Moore. They bat 2 and 3 in this lineup. Really potent, though, top to bottom, as it usually is for this Tennessee crew.
Definitely is. This Tennessee lineup has so much potential to be deadly. We saw what they were able to do this past weekend when their swings were on. It's going to be exciting to watch the rest of the season.
Dylan Dreiling stands in now, the sophomore out of Kansas. 24 starts as a freshman. Most impactful first-year guy in the lineup for Tony Vitello last season. .295 hitter, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs. It'll take strike 3 looking. That'll be the second out. 2 up, 2 down is Michael Groves. Looking good.
This shows the difference in the maturity between a freshman and a senior. This is a senior pitcher coming out with all the confidence in the world, and he's not afraid to show it. Look at his face. He's serious. It just shows the difference in experience on the mound.
You talk about Tennessee wanting to reload every single year. They've got 3 Golden Spikes nominees this season. One of them, Christian Moore, who stands in his first at-bat at Lindsey Nelson Stadium this season. Moves over to the shortstop spot, at least for the beginning portion of their season. Second baseman all last year. But he's an SEC Player of the Year type talent. And he showed it why with a massive weekend. 6 hits at the Shriners College Showdown. 3 doubles, 2 RBIs, stole a base, and looked really polished at shortstop.
He did. Coach Vitello had a lot of good things to say about Christian Moore after this weekend. He said he's matured in a lot of different ways. He'll do whatever he has to do to help the team. And he will probably play a lot of different positions. He said that there's a good chance we'll see Christian Moore in different spots on the field.
Nothing this early in the season is set in stone. You want to experiment as much as you can without driving your team crazy, and that's what Tony Vitello likes to do. Now, this time last year, felt like there were so many question marks about who was going to be where in the infield and the outfield. Feel like you have a better idea than maybe you did this time last year, but you're still going to try to learn and experiment, move around what fits best.
It's a good problem to have, definitely, when you've got so many players who can play so many different positions.
That's a hard hit ball from Christian Moore, but it's right into the mitt of Robbie Burnett, formidable center fielder. Easily gets under it, so it's a 1-2-3 inning for Michael Groves. Michael Groves started this game for UNC Asheville on the mound, and now he leads off this top of the second. UNC Asheville has the advantage here in the early going. It is still early, and it's a beautiful day in Knoxville. Midweek baseball is back here in 2024. We're in for a treat with how nice today is. Feeling lucky here in mid-February. Andy Brock and Kalen Arnold with you. Grove fresh off the mound, chops one over to Blake Burke at first. He'll step on the bag. Quick out number 1 for Derek Schaefer, freshman, looking to settle in after giving up a run in inning number 1.
Much better start for Schaefer. Sometimes, it just takes that first inning, get those nerves out, get the jitters out, figure out the zone, come back out, do your thing.
Again, it's a new-look pitching staff for Tennessee, and Tony Vitello and pitching coach Frank Anderson as Ty Kaufman stands in, shows bunt, rips it back. Frank Anderson, obviously one of the best pitching coaches in the nation. That resume is among the best out of any coach. Tony Vitello always says, how attractive it should be for any player to want to play for Frank Anderson. They bring in a wealth of new arms. It's Kavaris Tears. He gets out number 2.
One of my favorite things that Coach Vitello had to say about Frank Anderson was that he's an old school guy, but he doesn't shy away from continuing to learn about the game, learn about new ideas happening in pitching, and then he kind of molds it into what he thinks would be the best for individual players. He's not a one-size-fits-all type of coach, and I really appreciate that.
If it feels like Tennessee has really good arms every year, it's because they do a great job of developing the talent that they do have. And you see it year in and year out. Tennessee pitching has been fantastic, specifically the last 2 years, top 2 in the nation, back-to-back years in team ERA. But you lose a lot of guys from last season. 36 starts are gone. Chase Burns, transfer portal to Wake Forest. Chase Dolander makes that next step to the big leagues. You're left with Drew Beam as your lone weekend guy. Got the Saturday start, and then you got to mix and match from there. You bring in a lot of new faces. Transfer portal helps you out, but first weekend it looked like a real positive note. Down in Dallas, got some really good production, especially from those transfer guys.
We saw a lot of really great things from a few pitchers, specifically, in my mind, A.J. Russell and A.J. Causey. I really liked that combination of them two, and I think that the coaches are looking forward to what they're going to be able to do the rest of the season.
No balls, 2 strikes for Brock Mercado. It's out for Schaefer. Delivery. And that off speed, a bit outside, ball 1. And that emergence of A.J. Russell could be the X factor for this pitching staff. The Friday night guy, career high 10 strikeouts. His first weekend start. Big question mark for Tennessee will be who can take over that Sunday role. Vitello said 4 or 5 options really in that mix. The 1-2, Mercado jumps one, right field. Busy afternoon so far for Kavaris Tears. Back-to-back gets out there, battling the sun, battling the shade. Doesn't matter. 1-2-3 is Derek. Fans filing into Lindsey Nelson Stadium for the 9th-ranked team in the country. This place here in Knoxville has been completely rejuvenated. Tony Vitello and his crew came in and have made this Tennessee program a national contender year in and year out. Looking to get some offense going here in the home opener. Went 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first. That turns it over now for the 4, 5, 6 hitters. We've got some power on this end. Kavaris Tears will lead things off in the inning, followed by Billy Amick and Blake Burke.
Those are 3 very powerful names. We saw what they were able to do in previous seasons, and then just this past weekend, Tears had a great weekend and really showed a lot of promise.
Yeah, Kavaris Tears, talented power hitter, redshirt sophomore season now. Flashed a lot of that raw potential. Meaningful playing time as well in his first real playing year last season. 304 average in 29 games, 2 home runs, and 11 RBIs. And you mentioned it, really good weekend in Dallas. Flies this one deep left field. This one carrying back towards the porches and out of here. Kavaris Tears continues to flash the power. His second home run of the early season ties us up here in this midweek.
Kavaris Tears sits back, waits on this pitch, and drives it opposite field for a just no doubt line drive home run and puts the Volunteers on the board.
I'll tell you what, part of Tears last season felt like he was really reaching for the off-speed, trying to push it down that right field line, but his 2 home runs to start this season have gone opposite way. Shows a lot more discipline here in his redshirt sophomore year.
Definitely, when asked after his home run this past weekend, he said that he was pulling off a little bit, so he was really trying to stay through the ball, and that's exactly what we saw him do right there. He stayed through that outside pitch and was able to take it over left field wall.
We see a comfortable Kavaris Tears this year. He could potentially be one of the more explosive bats in this Tennessee lineup. Gets moved up to the cleanup role and has already delivered. First hit for Tennessee, first run. Turns things over now to Billy Amick. Amick gets underneath one high fly ball into center field, playable for Robbie Burnett. He has it. Amick, the transfer from Clemson, really good weekend in Dallas as well as Tears. 2023 All-American is now 0 for 1 here in his Lindsey Nelson Stadium debut. One down now for Blake Burke.
Amick is one of those players that Coach Vitello said he's so glad is now on their team wearing the right color orange, in his words. He's somebody that is so strong. We were able to see what he could do some this past weekend, and he's making a name for himself for sure in the orange and white.
That's one of the beauties of the transfer portal. You can play against a guy on the other side, see him for yourself live and in person, and say, hey, hop in the portal. You have that face-to-face interaction. Tennessee went up against Clemson in Clemson Regional last season. Blake Burke, this one's hit super well down the right field line. It's veering foul. It was hit a mile long. Out of play.
That was an absolute moonshot. Stinks that it was foul, but that was crazy. That ball was crushed.
And Tears, Amick, and Burke combined for the 3, have enough power to send one all the way Kingston Pike. Burke just missed what would have been his first home run of the season. He's got 30 in his career. At 14 as a freshman, tied the program freshman home run record. 16 home runs, 43 RBIs as a sophomore last year.
He's chasing that home run record currently held by Luke Lipsius.
Burke puts one into right field. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Extra bases for Blake Burke. That's a stand-up double with one down.
Burke pulling that ball to the right side of the field. I love his hustle. He sees that that ball is making it all the way to the wall, and he turns on the wheels and is able to pull out a double.
4th hit on the year for Blake Burke. He had 2 in the win against Baylor on Sunday. Turns things over. Designated hitter Robin Villeneuve get his first Tennessee home at bat. He's 2 for 2 on the year. JUCO transfer out of Weatherford College, spent 2 years there, and has been impressive so far in limited appearances. Skies the 1-0 pitch high, left center, way up in the sun, and that's picked up from Corbin Lanowitz, out 2.
We're seeing a lot of pitches up in the zone getting popped up so far. Tennessee hitters are either going to have to lay off of that pitch or they're going to have to get their hands up a little bit higher.
I feel like there's any maybe jumpiness being back at home. You see the home crowd here. You want to hit a home run. Just saw Kavaris Tears hit one oppo. Maybe a bit of that feeling. You're finally back here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium.
Definitely. I mean, I'm sure the guys are so pumped to be back at home in front of this crowd. This is a fantastic crowd for the first game of the season at home. So I'm sure they are. They're feeling all the jitters and the anxiousness, the nerves. And then when the ball is coming in high, it does look like a beach ball. I mean, your eyes get huge and you want to drive it out.
Michael Grove looking for out number 3 on the mound. This is Ethan Payne. Puts one foul down the right field side, out of play. The Tennessee native making his first start of the season. He'll be positioned out at second base. Second base is where Brad Keylori got all 3 starts over the weekend. Again, the midweek is a good chance to get some guys that maybe didn't get some weekend action, a chance to swing the bat, chance to play the field. Expect to see a couple of shifts throughout this game.
You want to try out as many options as you possibly can. See what your guys can do. You never know. Somebody may be put in a position and absolutely crush it. And you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you could do that.
That is the beauty of early season baseball. You just never know who's going to earn a full-time starting role. You never know who could maybe have a 20 home run season. It's all a bunch of question marks right now.
And I mean, you get a little bit of an idea through the fall of what your team's going to look like, but you still never know until that first game, because it's a completely different feeling. And like you said, guys step up. That's what's so beautiful about baseball, is they step up when, you know, the time comes and you get into those big moments.
Blake Burke advances to third. He's 90 feet away with 2 down. 2-2 count. Grove versus Payne. That's a high pop fly. Ty Kaufman ranging over from second. He's got it. And that keeps Burke stranded 90 feet away. But Tennessee knot things up, 1 apiece. Kavaris Tears, his second home run in as many games. 2 innings in the book here in Knoxville. Again, first midweek contest of the year for either side. Still technically in week 1 of the season. Both teams trying to settle in and get comfortable for what is the start of a long year. Both these teams hope to be playing for as long as possible, deep into spring and summer. Derek Schaefer back out for a 3rd inning of work. Already a 0-2 start on Ben Hemphill.
He looks like he's definitely settling in now. In that first inning, we saw a little bit of shakiness, some walks. Had a hard time finding the zone, but now he seems like he's found it. Second inning was good. 3rd inning starting out great.
Hemphill, the 9-hitter in this Bulldog lineup. That'll put Schaefer at least through the order once. That 0-2 just misses. And Schaefer, his first career start, the freshman. He's one of the top arms out of the state of Arizona. Standout from Cactus Shadows High School. One, two, got him. The check swing didn't matter. Hemphill goes down. That is strikeout number 2 for Schaefer.
I absolutely love that spot. It couldn't be any more perfect. He expanded the zone the previous pitch. Right there, he wasn't afraid to go right back to that outside corner, but he brought it in just a little bit and got the strikeout.
Back to the top of the order, Cole Abrams. First pitch is swinging away out to center field. Inslee has it on the run, has been incredibly solid in that spot, especially opening weekend. Felt like he was diving just about every other inning, and he makes the play. Hunter Inslee really took ownership of that spot last year. Traditionally maybe a corner outfielder, but Tennessee needed a center fielder last year. They had to have someone step up, and that is where Hunter Inslee took over.
He's definitely stepped up as more than just a great player, but also a leader on this team. You can see he leads by example, and that's exactly what you want from your center fielder. You want your other outfielders to look up to that person.
At times, defense, it hurt this Tennessee team in terms of, errors in vital positions in SEC games, miscues. Wasn't as consistent as maybe typical Tennessee teams last year. But after one weekend, indication is defense could be a strong suit of this team. It looked really sharp. But again, nothing set in stone as mentioned early season, but only one error on the weekend. Hunter Ensley again looked fantastic in center. Kavaris Tears looked confident in right field for the 2 starts he had. And you have Christian Moore, a first-time full-time shortstop. And he seems smooth, very poised.
Definitely. I think that the coaches are really happy with what they're getting right now from their defense, and also knowing that they have a whole team of athletes that they can put in different positions in case something does happen.
3-2 count for Robbie Burnett. One of 2 hits for the Bulldogs, a single back in the first. Burnett barely got a piece of that fastball. 92 from Schaefer. Again, gave up that first run at the end of the first inning. Burnett got caught trying to extend a single. Trying to go from second to third, got caught up. Another 3-2. Off speed that time, tied up Burnett. Schaefer, impressive third frame. 2 strikeouts in the bottom of the third. UNC Asheville will head to the bullpen. First team to head into the relief arms. It's the lefty. Sam Thompson will take over. He's a junior from Louisville, Kentucky. He's already thrown 1 inning of work this season, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, no strikeouts in that weekend series against Georgia. Again, it was 3 losses for UNC Asheville against the Georgia team, who looked really impressive. Again, just opening weekend, both teams still trying to settle in. UNC Asheville, 500-year last season, 26 wins, led by 10th-year head coach Scott Friedel. And this is a very familiar midweek matchup. These teams typically come together one point or another in the season for a midweek battle. Thompson will get the 9-1-2 hitters. Charlie Taylor rounds out the batting order for Tony Vitello in this first midweek game. Gets to start his first start this season at the catcher spot.
Thompson, a lefty, bringing a little bit of a different look than previous pitcher Michael Groves.
Gets a good swing and a miss from Taylor that time. Full count. Payoff pitch. Taylor connects. Left field backing up. Warning track as Lanowitz has it. Had the arm out against the wall. Battled the sun. Made the play. Hard hit baseball from Charlie Taylor. All you can ask for in that 9 spot to lead off the frame.
Taylor put a good swing on the ball. I mean, that was a good hit. Just happened to go right to left field. Little bit more power behind it, and it would have been over just like Tears.
Back to the top of the order, Hunter Ensley not wasting much time. He'll test the shortstop Abrams. That's out number 2. And a lot of experience for this UNC Asheville defense and batting order. They returned just about every guy from last season offensively. Abrams is an experienced shortstop.
I've been impressed so far with UNC Asheville and their defense and their pitching. I mean, they've really done a good job of going 1, 2, 3.
Certainly got punched in the mouth against Georgia. Outscored by the Bulldogs 38-7, run ruled twice. Not easy then to head back on the road to another SEC environment, but they have been in this stadium before. A lot of these guys played here last year, late March. Tennessee won 5-0 in that game, so already 1 run better than last year, so had to be feeling a little bit more comfortable after having played 3 really tough games against a good Georgia team. Drilling up the middle, a 2-out base hit for Tennessee.
Sometimes those first weekends out are just craziness because you're trying to figure out your team. You're trying to figure out what you're going to look like against the hitters that are on a different team. You've been facing your own team in scrimmages and things like that over and over and over again. And so, you know, that may have been not taking anything away from Georgia. I know Georgia is a very, very good team, but for this UNC Asheville team, that may have been something that they were going through, was trying to find their footing in that first weekend.
That ball gets away past Hemphill at first base. Dreiling easily getting to second. He's going to go for third. And he's in. 90 feet away now from giving Tennessee the lead.
In my opinion, that was totally on the first baseman. I know it wasn't a great throw, but he looked kind of, I don't know, like just lackadaisical or lazy with his glove, like he didn't really try to get in front of that ball.
RBI chance now for Christian Moore. Puts it on the ground. That's into left field. He delivers with 2 outs, and Tennessee's got their first lead.
That's exactly what you want to do. You want to take advantage of mistakes that the other team has made. And that's what Christian Moore does. He's been so consistent at the plate and on defense.
That's Moore's 7th hit, team leading 7th hit of the season, and now 3rd RBI. Tennessee by a run. And that's a mistake if you're with UNC Asheville on the road against a top 10 team. Can't have mistakes like that one that put a runner with 2 outs from first to third.
If you want to try and compete against a team at the caliber of Tennessee, you're right. You cannot make mistakes like that. You have to be on top of your game.
And it keeps the inning alive for Kavaris Tears. 1 for 1. The big home run put Tennessee on the board in the second. Take strike 2. Outside portion of the plate. Tears now 3 hits on the season. Pair of home runs. On the ground again, left side. That's going to get through into left. Back-to-back base hits here this afternoon for Tears.
Tears' bat is hot right now, and that's not something that UNC Asheville wanted to happen, especially with 2 outs.
And the shift was on here for Tears, but again, his last 3 hits have all been opposite way. And it was at Cameron Johnson. Had a chance to make a play on that, but it was hit hard enough. Looks like they're going to mark it down as an error on Johnson over there on third.
I disagree with that. I think that that was a hard hit ball that took a high hop. I don't think that that was an error.
Definitely was one of those plays maybe, you know, Johnson would have made a better effort on, gotten the glove on it, maybe stopped it, but he was alone on an island out there, and they're going to give him an error. No base hit for Kavaris Tears. Now Billy Amick with 2 aboard and 2 outs. That's going to skip and get past Mercado behind the dish. Moore to third, and now Tears to second. What was a solid start for UNC Asheville defensively. You're starting to see a few things come unwinded now here in the bottom of the third. And if you put one bad spot with Billy Amick, he's going to make you pay with 2 in scoring position.
That's something that UNC Asheville has got to do, is stop this unraveling. They've got to be able to come back together and try to slow things down. In these situations, the game starts to feel really, really fast, and it feels like it's getting away from you. So they've got to be able to take a breath, calm themselves down, and try to get back into it.
Conference with Sam Thompson. You got to be selective with Billy Amick. He's 0 for 1. But again, it was a massive week for him. 2 home runs, 5 RBIs in Dallas opening weekend. His first weekend as a Volunteer. The transfer from Clemson. Golden Spikes watch list for this year. 1-1. Amick. Hot shot. It caught Tears right on the ankle. And they're going to wave that dead. If it hits the runner, he's out. And that likely could have been 2 RBIs for Amick. Instead, it's out number 3. Unfortunate draw there for Amick. Tennessee will have to live with the 1 run.
So unfortunate. I mean, that ball, it just goes right to him, and it's hit with such power and speed. He can't get out of the way of that. That's just one of those things.
That's how it falls. It goes UNC Asheville's way. We've played 3. Tennessee by a run now. He now hands the ball to lefty Andrew Banke, 5'10 sophomore, Tennessee native out of Nashville, Tennessee.
It's interesting that they also decided to go with a lefty like UNC Asheville to switch things up a little bit, give the hitters a different look.
Again, could be one of many changes we see from this Tennessee bullpen and UNC Asheville bullpen. Want to give a lot of guys a different look. Banke, no action this past weekend, so this is his first outing of the season. Limited last year, dealt with a bit of an injury the first 2 months of his freshman campaign. 6 outings, though, did not give up a single run in those 6 outings. 5 2/3, 10 strikeouts, and 4 walks. So he takes over now in the 4th.
That's impressive.
He's got the 3-4-5. So the heart of this UNC Asheville order. Again, Schaefer settled in as the start went along. Freshman's afternoon now done. 1-1 start for Dylan Bako. He's 0 for 1, struck out back in the first. And a big returner for UNC Asheville, the 5th-year guy, a veteran, top hitter from last year, 337 average, 9 home runs, 61 RBIs. Skies this one down the right field line. Tears, hard run, a slide, can't snag it. Took a great effort. Dropped all the way down into the slide. Just couldn't find it.
That's such a hard play to make. I would have been blown away if he actually was able to get that ball. I love the hustle, though.
Tears starts at 2 of the 3 this weekend, now in 3 of the 4 this season. Yeah, no spot is particularly set out there in the outfield at any point. It looks like he just overslid it.
Yeah, I think you have to remember how easy it is to slide on this turf.
That ball off the edge of the bat. It's going to be foul. Yeah, the turf definitely changes things up. You never know, wherever you go in the SEC, it's going to be different. You play on the road, it's different. You come home, it's different. This turf, it'll sneak up on you, especially game 1. Real action in a while.
Definitely. I know that anytime I played on a turf field, I wasn't happy about it. It changed up my pitching mechanics. It changed up the way that I had to drag.
There's the 1-2. Swung on and missed from Bako. So Banke off to a good start. His first outing of the season. That's a punch out.
Fantastic start by Banke, getting that strikeout. Beautiful breaking ball down for the swing and miss. That's exactly what you want to see from your sophomore pitcher coming in.
Lee Corbin Lanowitz standing in, 0 for 1. Fly out back in the first. 7 straight Bulldogs sat down by Tennessee Arms.
I know that has to give the coaches a lot of confidence, seeing that their underclassmen are being so successful against such an experienced lineup.
That 1-1 is in there. Fastball from Banke sitting at 89. Again, it's just quite the pecking order now in Knoxville. So many experienced pitchers on this Tennessee team, underclassmen. You got to take advantage of these moments. 1-2, off speed, off the end of the bat, hugging that foul line down the first base line. And it stays foul.
Banke has done a good job of getting ahead against both of these hitters. That's exactly what you want to do as a pitcher, because then you're able to expand the zone. You're able to throw those pitches up, down, out, get the hitter to chase after what you want them to.
Lanowitz couldn't grab the off speed. Banke looking solid. That's back-to-back Ks to start his first outing.
I mean, that proves my point. He got ahead in the count and then was able to come in with this off-speed, breaking down into the zone. And he's making the hitters look silly right now.
Cameron Johnson trying to solve this puzzle of Banky right now. It has been back-to-back swing and misses from his teammates. Johnson, one of two UNC Asheville hits. And both came in the first inning. He has the lone RBI. UNC Asheville team that hit 278 as an offense that was fourth in the Big South. Hit 55 home runs. Much better production than the 26 they had in 2022. A team that expects to compete with the best of the best in the Big South, a conference that is wide open now that Campbell has moved on. A team that has won every year there since 2019. Johnson down the left field line. It's foul. That extra base is written all over it.
I had just talked about how great Banky was doing at getting ahead in the count, and then against this hitter he went 2-0 but was able to come back, now tied it up 2-2.
That pitch low, full count on the way. Again, 8 straight. Bulldogs have been sat down by the Volunteers. No one has reached for the visitors since Cameron Johnson's short-lived single in the first inning. Johnson on the 3-2. He reaches again. So his second hit. He is now 2 for 2, causing some problems for the Volunteers in their home opener.
This pitch a little elevated, a little too over the plate. It's hard when you're in that 3-2 count, though. You've got to come in with something competitive. You don't want to walk him, but you also don't want to give him anything too good to get a solid hit on.
Now the starting pitcher in this game for UNC Asheville, Michael Grove, stays on as the designated hitter. Tying run on first with 2 outs in the inning. Again, a really good at-bat from Johnson. Banky was in a groove, fought him 3-2, and picked up the base hit just to see someone aboard. It had been since his hit in the first.
Honestly, Banky doesn't even need to worry about that hitter. He needs to worry about this one, which is exactly what he did. He was focused through his pitch, and it ends in a pop up to left field.
And earned the fly ball for out number 3. Solid inning considered for Banky. So he head to the bottom of the 4th. Texas, the transfer, 5th-year grad transfer from New Mexico. First outing as a Bulldog. First pitch, he sails away as he's got Blake Burke. 6, 7, 8 due up. Burke, Villeneuve, and Ethan Payne. As Tennessee looks to add on. Solid crowd here for what was an early start time. First pitch, 4:30 local Eastern. Again, you just try to soak up as much sunlight as you can before those daylight saving days where you have longer sun, longer into the night. Burke shoots one high into left field. Lanowitz has it.
It is a beautiful day for baseball. I love the crowd that showed up today for the first home opener. It's awesome. It's cool to see the renovations that have been made down the left field line.
Now this university, these fans have fully embraced Tony Vitello, this staff, these players every single year. Of course, this team has delivered 2 College World Series in the last 3 years. Only SEC team that can say they've been to 2 College World Series in that span. Hadn't been to the College World Series since 2005 before Tony Vitello took over. That play almost sent Hemphill off the bag. Was able to quickly get back, but Villeneuve is taken care of for out number 2.
Yeah, that's tough. Great job by first base hanging on to that ball. I know as a pitcher, it's so important to make sure that you can field and you can throw overhand. You get into this zone and this rhythm, and then when it's time for you to field the ball, it's imperative that you be able to do it. You got to be that extra infielder.
Nothing going for Tennessee here in the fourth. Ethan Payne stands in with 2 outs. He's 0 for 1 again, making his first start of the season. Manning second base. Payne, one of those guys that has been on this team for a while. Knows the ropes, a veteran guy you can toss in. Good speed, good base runner as well.
Almost gets hit by that pitch.
Had to skip out of the way, 2-1 start. Stramiska looking for quick work here in the fourth. Only 8 pitches, he's got 2 outs.
We've seen a couple of wild pitches actually from Stramiska, not the first one that he's almost hit someone with.
In first outing for him on the year. No action for him against the Bulldogs over the weekend.
As a freshman in this huge stadium, I'm sure he's feeling the nerves.
Payne hot shot on the ground. Hemphill has it. And a clean 1-2-3. As UNC Asheville sends us to the 5th. Tennessee by a run. Scoreless 4th inning on both ends. Tennessee holding a slim 1-run advantage. 5 hits for the Volunteers, 3 for the Bulldogs. Andrew Banke back out to work. Going to start the 5th. He has got the back 3 hitters in this UNC Asheville lineup. Ty Kaufman stands in. He's 0 for 1. Banke 2 strikeouts his first inning of work. Allowed just the 1 hit. Cameron Johnson 2 hits on the day for the Bulldogs. Up the middle goes Kaufman, ranging over. Ethan Payne called into action. He's got it. Out number 1.
Nice, easy play. Good job by Banke getting the ground ball. He's been very effective today. Done a really good job so far keeping UNC off the bases.
Turns things over to Brock Mercado. He also is 0-1. Kalen, these early games, as a player, you have that whole season out in front of you. You're just right there at the start. You obviously dying to get on the field at first, and then you get there, you played the first few games. What are those feelings like, trying to just manage those expectations, just trying to know, hey, this is a process?
Andy, you're so right when you say that, you just want to get out there and play, because that's all you can think about in the fall. And then the closer and closer you get to game day, you just want to be out there. You just want to play someone in a different jersey. And then when it finally happens, it's kind of an overwhelming feeling. It's excitement, it's anxiety, it's nerves, all the good things, right? All the good feelings. And you want to take it just one game at a time, focus on the game at hand, not think too much towards the future. I mean, you do, want to think about different things, moving forward, like with your team and all that, but you don't want to get overwhelmed by what's coming up. So you want to focus one game at a time, or one pitch at a time, as the cliche saying is.
Tends to be some feeling, often you get a player out there early non-conference, you just want to burst onto the scene, right? You want to put up big numbers right at the start. Tony Vitale has always made the point as Banke fires in the 3-2 pitch. That's strike 3 swinging. But Tony Vitale is always making the point, as most coaches do, we want to play our best baseball in May and in June. We want to play our best baseball into the season. But a lot of guys, it's hard to think past those numbers games early.
It is. Great breaking ball there by Banke. It is. But like I said, you want to go at it one pitch at a time, especially as a freshman.
Hard swing from Hemphill at the wall is Dreiling. He won't catch up to it. Hemphill, the 9-hole hitter, has tied up this ball game. First hit of the season for the sophomore is deposited over the left field wall, and that's a big one here in the 5th.
That ball just breaks right into his barrel, right into the sweet spot, and it goes over left field. Puts UNC Asheville on the board, tied 2-2.
Brand new ball game just like that as we flip back to the top of the lineup. Banky sat down the first two. The Bulldogs, 2-out magic in that 9-hole swing.
And you see that a lot, honestly, in the first few games of the season where you're going back and forth with teams until you get settled in. When you get settled in, that's when you kind of know where you're at as a team. But right now, they're trying to figure out who they are. Banky, he's trying to get, some pitches going for him early.
Yeah, Banky has looked sharp. Again, he has 3 strikeouts, just 1 2/3, but a pair of 2-out hits now on his line. Abrams looking to make it 3. That's a single. Cole Abrams, his first hit of the afternoon.
And that's something that comes with maturity as well as a pitcher, is learning how to get that 3rd out. Not allowing hit after hit or walk or whatever it may be after those 2 outs.
Volunteers getting loose out in the bullpen. Vacation here from Tony Vitale. Let's let Banky try to work out of this. Go-ahead run at first, though. 2 outs in the inning. Robbie Burnett, most dangerous hitter on this team. 13 home runs a season ago in just 38 games. Dealt with some injury throughout. Limited. Didn't get a full potential type year. It's going to be fun to see what he can do this year if he stays healthy. This one high into foul territory. Is it in range for Amick? Right there at the netting, but it's out of play. Get a nice look of some of the upgrades down that left field side here at Lindsey Nelson.
Right here, these are the kinds of situations that Coach Vitello and Coach Anderson want their young pitchers to be in. You just gave up a solo shot, then another base hit, and now you've got the best hitter in the lineup up. How are you going to respond? Are you going to lay down, or are you going to get up and fight and do what you can against their best?
Burnett is 1 for 2, a single back in the first, and then a strikeout. Went down swinging in the third. 0-2 pitch. Burnett down swinging again. Banky gets out of the inning. And UNC Asheville continuing to make this a ball game. Solo shot from Ben Hemphill ties us up at 2.
Beautiful pitch here by Banky, and he decided to get up and fight. He was not going to lay down after that solo shot. He was ready to prove himself right here.
Volunteers searching for a response. UNC Asheville has tied things up. Tennessee took the lead in the 3rd inning. RBI single from Christian Moore. And the home run from Ben Hemphill has put us even again. 9-1-2 due up for Tennessee. Kalen, have you been impressed with UNC Asheville, their poise? I know it's midweek. You don't have the aces throwing. A little bit different in terms of starting lineups, but you have to be impressed with their poise coming off of being swept by a lot to Georgia. 2-run rules. Come in here and you've made a ball game out of this.
Definitely. It shows a lot of resilience. I mean, to come off a weekend of being swept by a major team, I know that doesn't feel good. So the fact that they're out here now and they're playing some really good baseball is impressive.
Quick first down of the inning is Strimska still on the mound. Charlie Taylor floats one high in the infield. We'll flip back to the top of this order. Tennessee needing some jolt on the offensive end. And they'll look for this top of the order to get things rolling. Hunter Inslee 0 for 2 in the leadoff spot. Inslee shakes off the first pitch. 3 hits for Inslee opening weekend. He's now 3 for 18 on the year. Smacks that one opposite way, heading towards that right field foul pole. It's gone if it's fair, and it is foul. That'll send Inslee all the way back home. flirted with his first home run of the year.
I know that's disappointing. That's 2 big hits that we've seen go foul, earlier from Burke and now from Inslee.
Seven home runs last year. 31 RBIs, sat near the top of that lineup. Lone returning starter in the outfield. Consistent everyday starter in the outfield for Tennessee. Felt like he just got better as the season went along, too. 318 average in SEC play. That was second best on the team.
It's very impressive, really great average.
Felt like he came out of his shell a little bit, became a personality. This Tennessee team's all about personality, right? You have to have a bit of that to fit in this lineup. Tony Vitello said it felt like he came out of that shell a little bit. That's a good at-bat there. Worked ball 4 and a 1-out walk.
Seeing the ball very well. I mean, that's what you want to do as the leadoff. You want to get on somehow. Going back to what you previously said, Tony Vitello, talking about Inslee and talking about how he's matured in so many different ways and really become a leader for this team.
He stands on first, still just 1 down. This has been the potent part of the lineup with Dreiling standing in, Christian Moore on deck, Kavares Tears waiting. This is the part that's done damage here this afternoon. Dylan Dreiling 1 for 2. Singled and then later scored in the 3rd inning.
This is where Tennessee really needs to turn it on, step on the gas pedal a little bit if they're hoping to come away with a win here.
Stremska out in front. No balls, 2 strikes for Dreiling. Four hits opening weekend for him. 2 doubles and a home run, and no doubter, the lone run in that Saturday game against Oklahoma. There's the 0-2. And Dreiling just stays alive, fouls one away. Again, last season, very impactful, played in some meaningful games, but just 95 at-bats, so really just a small sample size as he makes that leap to an everyday type of guy now.
In the post-game interviews and preseason pressers, Coach Vitello talked a lot about maturity and how that's been a big theme, I think, for a lot of guys on his team, is maturing in several different ways, whether it be physically getting stronger, mentally getting stronger. But I think that's been the main theme for this team, is maturity.
Second time tonight, Dreiling has gone down looking. The off-speed right on the outside portion there, close. It's Matthew Bates calling the balls and strikes tonight behind home plate. I'll bring up Christian Moore. 1 for 2, had an RBI single with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Situation which Dreiling was on first. Trying to pick him off, the ball got away, got to 3rd, and set up Christian Moore with the RBI chance. You don't want to do that with the potential SEC Player of the Year candidate.
Definitely not. Coach Vitello said that Christian Moore thrives with a challenge. He thrives under pressure.
This one chopped over to 3rd down the line. Cameron Johnson, good throw across the diamond. That keeps Tennessee scoreless in the bottom of the 5th, so we stay even. 2 runs apiece as we move to the 6th. Home opener for the Volunteers. It's a good one. We are all square through 5 innings. Move to the 6th. Andrew Banke, he wants another inning. Back out on the mound. Faced 3, 4, 5. It's exactly who he faced off in the 4th inning. Dylan Bako leading off. Pair of strikeouts on his line. He'll be looking for that first hit of the game, and it would be his first hit of the season. He's 0 for 9 on his line so far.
Bako also just a freshman, so he's getting a lot of experience right now, learning a lot. Oh, 2's the count.
Lefty Banky delivers. Bako barely gets a piece of it. This is home opener number 113 for Tennessee. They got 90 wins when opening at home. Won 5 straight games under Tony Vitello to open up Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Volunteers are going to get comfortable here in their home environment. First of 15 straight. High pop fly in the infield. Amick calls everyone off, and he's got it.
I love how Amick, I mean, we're up here in the press box, and I could hear him yelling for that ball. That's what you want to do, and I know that may be obvious, but for the kids watching who, you know, aspire to be really good baseball players, you've got to be vocal, you've got to communicate with your infield and let them know that it's your ball and back off, especially the pitcher.
Especially when you get to this part of the day as well, you know, it starts to become dusk, you lose sunlight, but it still feels like it's daytime, it's transitioning to night. It can be easy to lose a ball up there in the dusk.
Definitely, and the sun, you know, it comes through the buildings in different ways, and so some parts are shaded, some parts are like blinding. So communication is key.
It is that time of the day. Sun setting here in East Tennessee. One out here in the top of the 6th. Corbin Lanowitz on the ground, up the middle. Ethan Payne gives a diving effort. Ricochets off his glove. Might not have been able to pop up for a throw in time anyways, but a good effort.
I love the hustle here from Payne. Gets on top of that ball and just a little too far up the middle. Payne was playing more towards first. But I love the diving effort. I love how he was able to keep it from going into the outfield.
Hot hitter tonight stands in Cameron Johnson. He's 2 for 2, a pair of singles with an RBI. And a runner on is Lanowitz. Johnson, first pitch, right to Moore. It's off his glove and into center field. Back-to-back Bulldogs will reach. That's going to likely go down as an error on Christian Moore. It was a hot shot off the bat, but right off his glove on the line.
That is a hot shot off the bat. Barely tips off of his glove. I know that's so frustrating when it tips. You're so close to catching it. That's 2 pitches that have gone pretty much up the middle, back to back.
Yeah, that's one of those. It's a tough play for Christian Moore, but I feel like that's one you should make, and that's why it goes down as an error. Just hits the top of the glove there. It's just the 2nd error for this Tennessee defense this season. First for Christian Moore as he makes that transition from second base to shortstop. Big time opportunity here for the Bulldogs. Go-ahead run is now in scoring position. Michael Groves, the starting pitcher, looking for an offensive impact. He's 0 for 2 at the plate.
This would be the time for the senior to step up. Try to get his team ahead here. Try to get things rolling for UNC Asheville.
Good start from Pankey on those off speeds. 2 strikes to start Groves. The two-way player has power, 11 home runs last season, 2nd on the team. Came alive late at the plate last season.
I love the steadiness that we're seeing from Banky right now. He gives up 2 solid hits up the middle, but goes right after Groves. Barely misses that pitch.
Tough one to lay off. If you're Grove down 2 strikes, 2 on. Again, double play still an option here for Tennessee to get out of the inning. Pop fly. That's going to get out of the infield. And well, foul. Grove has put one on the ground, and then he has skied one to center field, so a mixed bag of results. Tennessee has the shift on to the right side for the lefty. Banky will give a throw over Again, with the college baseball rules enacted last season, you do a pickoff move, you have to throw the ball. You can see the pitch clock there right behind home plate. That fastball misses as well, so count now even. Patience from Michael Groves, the starting pitcher.
Those pitches are good pitches, though. That's exactly where you want to throw the ball when you're ahead in the count. You don't want to put it over the plate. You want to throw them a pitcher's pitch and try to get them swinging.
Banky got him that time on the off speed. Strike 3 swinging. And a strikeout number 5 for Banky, who's looking to work out of this mini jam here.
What I love about this is the placement of that pitch. So we previously saw him throw that outside pitch off the plate. He got Groves leaning, and then he comes up and in with that off speed and gets him standing up, swinging and missing.
And after 2 2/3, Banky has thrown 51 pitches. Again, giving up 4 hits, 1 run, no walks. Now 5 strikeouts. Solid outing for Banky, who really didn't get a ton of innings and a lot of work last year. That's going to be it for him. Still responsible for those 2 on base. But Tennessee's going to make a change to the bullpen here in a big spot in the 6th.
Your pitcher, please, now pitching for the Volunteers. Number 31, Austin Huntley.
Big spot here in the 6th inning for righty Austin Huntley, redshirt freshman from Mount Juliet, Tennessee, to make his Tennessee debut. Younger brother of former All-American Tennessee arm Sean Huntley, as he makes his debut with 2 aboard and 2 down here in the 6th in the tie ball game. Get the first look at the redshirt freshman.
And this is a tough situation for a freshman to come into. I mean, you've got 2 outs, so you feel good about that, but then you also have a runner on first and second, and it's your debut, so you're out here for the first time in the big orange uniform and probably, you know, feeling some jitters. You've just got to focus in and take it 1 pitch at a time.
Up the middle, Moore and Payne ranging over. Payne has it, likely saving a run just by scooping it. Kaufman able to reach first with a base hit. Bases loaded now. That is the 3rd ball put in play that have really tested this Tennessee defense, but a smart decision from Payne just to glove it and hold on to it here.
Definitely. He 100% saved that run from scoring. It took a weird hop off the mound, and he was able to scoop it up. Now bases are loaded, which hopefully makes it a little bit easier to get that out.
Payne has it off the hop. He steps on his own bag at second. Smart defense from Ethan Payne here to close out the inning. And Austin Hunley makes his debut and gets out of the bases loaded jam. Tennessee looking for some run support. Bottom of the inning.
Hey, fans, it looks like our guests a little bit of results today. Tonight, you guess number 9 Hunter Ensley.
On the board.
Tears has been hot for the past couple of games. He's really been swinging it well. You see his Oppo home run over left field fence earlier in the game, and then he comes back with a hard ground ball past the shortstop.
2 for 2 afternoon, home run and a single. Again, picking up right where he left off. 2 hits Sunday in that finale of the Shriners College Showdown against Baylor. Had that 3-run home run, so he now has 2 home runs in 2 games. He will face a new pitcher here in the bottom of the 6th. It's going to be Nick Melton on the mound for the Bulldogs, a lefty sophomore out of New London, North Carolina, his first outing of the season. Again, the shift is on for Tears. Rips it on the first he sees over to second. Kaufman has it. Loud hit, but right at Kaufman. That's out number 1.
It was a solid hit, but honestly, it's exactly what they wanted to happen outside of the strikeout. Threw the ball inside, got him to turn on it, and the defense was shifted to be able to field that ball cleanly.
First 2 swings from Tears had been the opposite way. That one well in time with. Empty bases for Billy Amick. Unfortunate in his last at-bat. Hit one that looked good for a base hit and 2 RBIs with it. That hit off of Kavares Tears' ankle, so he's 0 for 2. Volunteers haven't had a hit offensively since Tears has hit back in the 3rd inning, so UNC Asheville has done a good job. These bullpen arms of shutting down a potent Tennessee lineup. Amick, hot shot down third base way. On his knees, Johnson, throw over in time. What a play from the hot corner.
Fantastic play by Johnson. He lays out for it, throws from his knees, and still gets Amick out.
Get the feeling that Billy Amick just can't buy a break. This happened to him all weekend. Good defensive plays, taking away extra base hits from him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he's striking out. That pitch is low in the zone. He's still able to get the bat on it, but just not quick enough to get there.
Have an afternoon. Cameron Johnson offensively has been stellar. Taking away a hit there from Amick. 2 down, no one on for Blake Burke. A double for Burke back in the 2nd inning, and then a flyout in the 4th. He's 1 for 2. Burke shoots one towards the right center gap. On the run, Burnett has it. Good defense for the Bulldogs in the 6th. 1, 2, 3. Not easy for the home side here. We've played 6 innings. 2 runs apiece. Thirds of this ball game. Bulldogs currently out hitting 9th-ranked Volunteers 7-5. We're all even in the run column up to this point. A chance to add on. 9-1-2 due up for the visitors.
This has been a good game so far. I think really great defensively on both sides. Offensively has been about the same, with UNC Asheville having 2 more hits. We've seen 2 home runs from both sides.
Game-changing swing from UNC Asheville came off the bat of Ben Hemphill, who stands in now. Solo home run back in the 5th with 2 outs, tied up this game. He's got a new pitcher, though, this time around. Austin Hunley back out. Got the final out of the 6th. Bases loaded at the time. And UNC Asheville came into Knoxville last year and only had 1 hit as a team. No runs. Much better performance this go around.
Much better. It's crazy to think about that, but we've talked about the players who have returned for this UNC Asheville team.
Tough fly ball in foul territory. Blake Berg hung with it. Had to battle the dusk. The sun was setting. That ball was moving all over the place, and he got it.
That was an incredible play by Berg. So hard to see, and he's backpedaling here too. Comes down to his knees to make that catch. I love the effort.
Back to the top of the order, Cole Abrams, first pitch up the middle. Tough play for Moore, off his glove again. They have really tested Christian Moore at shortstop. It felt like didn't get tested enough opening weekend. They're really making a move around this afternoon.
We've seen a lot of hits up the middle here, testing Moore and testing Payne as well. But honestly, I think they've done a good job. All of these balls have been really hard balls to make plays on, and they've stopped the majority of them. They've gotten in front of it and kept it from going to the outfield.
A second hit here this afternoon for Cole Abrams. He's now 2 for 3. 1 out base runner for Robbie Burnett. Had a hit back in inning number 1, but since then, the preseason Big South Player of the Year. Pair of strikeouts.
That's got to make you confident about your pitchers. Coach Vitello should feel good that they've done such a good job of keeping such a dangerous hitter like Burnett at bay.
Check over at first for Hundley. Again, this is Hundley's first outing of his Tennessee career. Played his high school ball at Mount Juliet High School. One of the top arms in the state of Tennessee. Redshirted his entire season last year. Now getting a chance to earn some outings specifically in the midweek. It's where you start to earn more and more. That's where his brother Sean, beginning of his career, he did most of his work in the midweeks as a starter. Of course, went on to become an All-American here in Knoxville, drafted by the Rays. Three balls and 1 strike, Burnett. Swings for strike 2, full count on the way. Just about throwing some of these new guys. Didn't get a chance to throw on the weekend, or like Hundley, haven't gotten a chance to throw at all. Just to see what they can do in situations. Handled that bases loaded spot extremely well. Now another chance with a runner on.
It's all about getting the freshmen some time, getting them some experience. You want to see what they can do, how they handle tough situations. So far, I've been very impressed with Tennessee's freshmen. I think they've done a good job, most of them coming out and having success.
Tough battle here between Hundley and Burnett. No strikeouts yet for Hundley. He's faced 4 batters at pitch count at 16. And a big 3-2 on the way. Burnett high in the air. Out to left field, Dreiling will veer over, loses it for a minute. Now he's back on it. Stuck his hands out as if he couldn't find it. Almost a dangerous situation out in left, but he battles the setting sun here in Knoxville for out number 2.
Great job. It's so tough, especially at this time of day. The sun is setting, the lights come on. So, I mean, it can get lost in the sun still, but it also gets lost in the lights.
It truly right now is the worst time to field a high fly ball. It is both daylight and dark at the same time right now. Throw back over to first. Good attempt from Hundley. Bit more of a closer call with Abrams. No stolen bases yet for the leadoff man, Abrams. 2 outs now in the inning with Dylan Bako, again looking for his first hit of the season.
Freshman versus freshman, righty versus righty matchup right here. This is kind of embarrassing to admit, but I remember as a freshman when I would pitch and I knew that another freshman was up, I would feel a sense of kind of calmness knowing that they don't really know what they're doing either yet. They're still learning just like me. And then, you know, the upperclassmen would step in, ones that I had been watching, you know, play when I was in high school, people I looked up to. It was intimidating at first. And it takes a couple of experiences out there on the mound before you really start to settle in and feel confident as a freshman.
One is fouled away as Bako going head-to-head with Hundley here. Hundley, the third pitcher Tennessee has used up to this point. Fellow freshman Derek Schaefer went 3 innings. Andrew Banke, the sophomore, 2 2/3. 8 combined strikeouts as a team. They're keeping a close eye over there on Abrams. And that is the go-ahead run here in the 7th. Maybe one close call out of the several attempts, and maybe also a chance to get the bullpen where it needs to be. The 1-2, that's on the ground. We'll call on Moore's name once again. Rushes forward and makes the play. Good range that time from the shortstop. And that's out number 3. Hundley, a scoreless top of the 7th for Tennessee. Tennessee through 6.5 into the home half of the 7th. Tennessee, they've got 7, 8, 9, looking to spark some offense. And Tennessee just 5 hits up to this point. They're looking for their first hit since the 3rd inning. Maybe a mixture of pitchers have been the right recipe for Scott Freedom in this visiting UNC Asheville team. Jacob Williams, the righty junior, will take over.
I think, too, UNC Asheville, they've been switching back and forth, righty-lefty, righty-lefty, righty-lefty. I mean, it does make it very difficult when you're seeing the ball from a different side every time you come up to bat.
Robin Villeneuve will lead off the inning. He's 0 for 2 after starting the season 2 for 2 in 2 separate games this past weekend. Got to start opening day in the designated hitter spot. Waits on one, crushes it down the left field line. It's going to go foul. That was home run distance. And Tennessee hit some big league home runs in that big league ballpark over the weekend. And a few of those that stayed in the ballpark that would have been out here at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Only 1 home run tonight. Certainly a difference maker, though.
Definitely, and we've seen 3 now foul home runs from the Tennessee Volunteers, so maybe they can figure out how to keep it between the lines, score a few more runs.
It was a home run for Tears back in the 2nd inning, led off that frame, and an RBI single from Christian Moore in the 3rd. So both of Tennessee's runs so far in this game. Villeneuve is going to lead off the 7th. Watching ball 4, that's a big at-bat. Saw 6 pitches with new pitcher Jacob Williams, and now stands on first.
This may be exactly what Tennessee needed to get started here, that leadoff walk. And now they can just see good pitches past the bat, potentially get things going again.
Bradkey Laurie will be the pinch runner for Villeneuve at first base. Laurie had 3 starts of the weekend at second base. He'll take over as the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 7th, and no one out. Pinch hitter for Tennessee is Dalton Bargo. He takes over where Ethan Payne was in the 8th spot, so you'll likely see Laurie move over to second base defensively. And let Dalton Bargo do his thing here offensively. Try to jumpstart this inning for Tennessee. Bargo, his first at-bat here at home as a Tennessee Volunteer, transfers over from Missouri. He was the Tigers' primary designated hitter. 45 starts as a freshman. 279, 5 home runs, and 23 RBIs. Likely to assume a similar role for Tennessee. He's a utility guy, can play a couple of different spots on the field. But you like him for his bat, that designated hitting role.
And that's what Tennessee needs right now. They need a bat to get them started, get things rolling again for them offensively.
Two-0 start for Bargo.
Williams is having a hard time finding the zone. He's thrown quite a few balls now.
That 2-0 pitch runs in and hits Bargo. 2 aboard now for Tennessee. Still no one out. Unconventional, but Bargo did his job in that pinch scenario. He got on base. That's going to put a runner in scoring position. Bradkey Laurie able to make the brief jog up to second. Tony Vitello is going to reach back into the bench again. Another pinch hitter. Charlie Taylor, the starting catcher, is replaced for Cannon Peebles, the transfer from NC State. Will get his first at-bat at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. Started Friday and Sunday at the catcher spot, and now will slot in here for the back half of this midweek game, and a vital spot as well.
Xander Sechrist had a few good things to say about Peebles. He said he brings experience even though he's only a sophomore because he plays very maturely. He's coming from a Power 5 school, which brings a level of comfort to him, having him behind the plate. And I know as a pitcher, it's important to feel comfortable with your catcher.
Yeah, Peebles, fantastic freshman season, freshman All-American, primarily a DH with NC State, but absolutely exploded on the scene, led the Wolfpack, 352 average, had 12 home runs, 7 of which were in conference play, and just 142 at-bats, so small sample size even. And just as Peebles was ready to get set again, we're going to see likely a pitching change here for UNC Asheville. Trying to give some time for the bullpen to get with no outs here in the 7th inning. Isaac Gonzalez is called upon from the bullpen. The senior lefties from Fayetteville, North Carolina, his second outing of the year. Big spot.
This is definitely a tough situation to come into, but you would rather have an upperclassman like a senior who has experienced things like this before.
And again, he's going to face off against Cannon Peebles. Tony Vitello really bringing out the bench here. We've seen Laurie come in as a pinch runner, Dalton Bargo, and now Cannon Peebles, 2 mainstays and 2 main bats likely to contribute throughout the year. Again, you're in a spot where you want to give guys opportunities, but also this is a game that you can win here now in the bottom of the 7th, 2 aboard. Needs some run support. Peebles, good swing on one. That's deep into right field at the track. Catch from Bako right up near the wall. Tagging is Laurie, so that'll put the runner 90 feet away with one out.
Great job by Peebles. I mean, that was a solid hit. Able to move the runner from second to third, now in scoring position. It's exactly what you want in that situation.
Back to the top of the order. RBI chance now for Hunter Inslee. Anything deep should be enough to score Laurie from third. And that is the go-ahead run now as we creep late into this ball game. Inslee will hold off of Gonzalez. This past weekend, Gonzalez threw an inning, gave up 2 hits, 4 runs, and walked a batter. Forgetful first outing again against the Bulldogs team that was red hot at the plate.
Wow, 68. That's off speed for sure. That's pretty insane.
Did not hold back that time. Let it float in there. Inslee did not try. Bit more juice on that one. Counts 1 and 2.
This is what I'm talking about with the experience. He's not worried about the runners on base. He's focused on Inslee right here, thinking about what pitch he's throwing next.
It's inside. Inslee's 0 for 2, earned a walk back in the 5th. Throw home, that's low, 3-2. Second base is open, a walk would load up the bases. It's the top of this Tennessee order. It is dangerous up in this region.
Honestly, even though a walk would load the bases and make it easier to get an out at any base, I don't think that's really what they want to do.
And that looks deep enough to at least score Laurie. Out in center field, Burnett has it. Tagging is Laurie. Tennessee's got the lead here in the 7th.
I love that. Those are good quality at-bats. Good, solid hits. It doesn't have to be a home run. It doesn't have to be, you know, the big, amazing hit for it to make a difference.
And you come to expect that out of this Tennessee team. There's a lot of home runs, 386 home runs in the last 3 seasons, but they play fundamental baseball too, and that's a pair of good balls hit deep in the outfield to get Laurie home.
It's just quality plate appearances, good solid at bats, thinking about the plan, thinking about what you're trying to achieve, working as a team.
2 outs now in the inning. Dylan Dreiling gets another at bat. He's 1 for 3. Lefty holds off on that slow breaker. 68 again on the radar. Bargo's still occupying first. Dreiling fouls another away. UNC Asheville on the other side will have 4, 5, 6 due up. They haven't led since early in the 2nd inning before Kavaris Tears tied up the game with the home run. Tennessee has retaken the lead. And Dreiling goes chasing on that pitch outside. All out of sorts, and that is out number 3. Tennessee, though, fundamental. They get the runner around. A couple of deep fly balls with the home opening win. 113th home opener here in Tennessee program history. Lindsey Nelson Stadium shining bright now as the sun continues to set what has been a beautiful day. Can't ask for much more here on this Tuesday afternoon. And we've had a close one as well. Entertaining battle. Bulldogs down to their final 6 outs now, trailing. Got 4, 5, 6 due up this frame.
It has been such a beautiful day for baseball. Couldn't have asked for better weather. As the sun has started to go down, it's gotten a little chillier, so Seeing some people with some jackets on makes sense.
Lanowitz kick off the 8th. Hot shot, but Blake Burke is strong, and he's got it. 1 up, 1 down. That'll bring up Cameron Johnson again. Tough out. He has reached all 3 plate appearances, a pair of hits. And if anyone can jumpstart this team in need of a tying run, it's likely going to be him. Austin Hundley, he's hanging around. 1 2/3 innings now. That pitch count up to 24. The bullpen is quite active.
Hundley has done a very good job so far. You really haven't seen like a whole lot of, strikeout material, but we've seen a lot of pitch to contact, letting his defense work. And, that's some of my favorite pitching is just, hey, I'm going to give you my best and then I'm going to let my defense work because they're that good.
You have to like the way Hundley has also finished his outing. It feels like he's gotten better as it has progressed. And he's worked quick enough here in the 8th inning that he might can finish this out. It felt like if maybe drew out a few at-bats there early, maybe someone reached, then Hundley's night was done. But now he's thrown 2 innings.
Definitely.
Pitch count's still good enough.
Definitely. And I think that we've seen that from the majority of Tennessee's pitchers tonight. They kind of started off, a little shaky. A lot of them, it was their first outing. But as the night continued, as the innings went on, they got stronger and stronger.
1, 2, 3 inning would be huge for the Volunteers after just grabbing a lead in the 7th. Chance for potential insurance in the bottom half of this inning. 2 down, the count's 1-1 to Groves. Now 1-2.
Potential insurance would take a lot of pressure off of Hundley if he was to close in the 9th. It always makes you feel better when your offense can extend the lead a little bit.
Third base line and foul from Michael Groves. Groves looking for his first hit. He's 0 for 3. But a good debut for Hundley. And again, as you mentioned, he's let the defense work behind him.
And we've already talked a little bit about how well Tennessee's defense is playing right now. I've been very impressed with every single player defensively. Honestly, they've all done something really incredible, all made really good defensive plays so far.
Breaking ball almost drops in for strike 3 to end the inning. Full count.
Barely missed. The Tennessee fans not too happy about that one not getting called.
That was the curveball for Hundley. Here's the 3-2. Grove, bouncer down the third base line. Foul once again, almost an identical spot. Now this is the battle where if Grove can get on, might force Tony Vitello's hand to the bullpen. Payoff pitch. Fouled back again. Really good battle from Grove. Just trying to test the freshman Hundley.
We've seen a few good battles here tonight, a few good quality at plate appearances. Hitters not wanting to give up, keep putting the bat on the ball.
Over to Lowry, can't grab it as he backtracked into right field. Fresh into the game defensively. And that middle infield has been tested all night. It's Lowry's turn. That's a base hit for Michael Grove, his first of the night.
First it was Payne, and then it was Christian Moore, and now it's Lowry. Just barely over the glove, but I love the hustle. I love the diving effort that he made to try and make that play.
Tying run is aboard with 2 outs here in the inning. Here's Ty Kaufman. Pulls back the bunt last second. Kaufman is 1 for 3, had a single back in the 6th inning off Austin Hundley, the first batter he faced. And that was one of those plays again that was 50-50 up the middle. Hot shot into center field. Inslee made the step forward, got underneath it. That's out number 3. Austin Hundley 2 1/3, solid outing in his Tennessee debut. Vols look for insurance. A tight one. It can keep things within striking distance for the Bulldogs.
Tennessee, this is exactly who they want up right now to try and get those insurance runs is Christian Moore. He's been clutch in big situations like this before.
At this point, Christian Moore has just about seen it all. 2 years as a mainstay for the Volunteers. 1 for 3 tonight. Stepped up in some big moments as a freshman. Last year was fantastic as well. Now a real leader on this team. Off speed almost catches him inside, has to hop out of the way. Was the Clemson Regional MVP, was red hot in the postseason last year, had 4 home runs, 8 RBI, 7 hits. And that regional Tennessee won in 3 games.
He's taking his time waiting for his pitch. Got Christian Moore and then Kavaris Tears and then Billy Amick. I mean, can't ask for a deadlier trio.
Christian Moore earns ball 4 on 5 pitches from Barnay. A leadoff walk for the second straight inning for Tennessee. Again, the Volunteers just 5 hits, but they've found a way to get it done in terms of being on the positive end on the run production compared to UNC Asheville. Lead by slim run, but were able to play some good fundamental baseball last inning.
That's the interesting thing about baseball is situational hitting, right? You may not get as many hits as the opposing team, but as long as you're hitting where you're supposed to in the right situations, it's going to fall for you.
Now as you get to the bulk of this lineup, if you're Tony Vitale, you want to see a couple of big hits to close out the night.
That would be nice.
Chance to add on. Kavaris Tears has been that big hitter. Keeping Moore close. He has good speed. Already 1 stolen base this season. Led the team with 16 a year ago. Big cut on the off speed. Tears couldn't grab it. Another look at Moore. And that scouting report's on him. And they might have called a balk on that. And they did. That's going to send Christian Moore to second. Well, Scott Friedel out to get the explanation.
Wow.
They're going to call the balk on Bernay.
That's definitely a mistake that you do not want in this situation.
Tears on the ground. It will advance the runner. High hopper. Kaufman has it. But 90 feet away is Christian Moore. Again, Tennessee doing a good job running the bases and at least getting into position where they can execute. And another big chance here. Now a chance for Billy Amick to finally find that breakthrough tonight. It has been another string of some unlucky moments. It was that line drive off Kavaris Tears that resulted in an out, and then a really good play from Cameron Johnson at third base that stole a hit. See if he can cash in here. An RBI chance.
He's due. He's due for a hit right here. He's had several opportunities that just didn't fall for him. Were solid hits, but just couldn't get it to break through.
Quick 0-2 start. The third baseman, Amick. Get anything deep. Moore certainly has the speed.
It goes back to what I was talking about earlier, that situational hitting. Of course, I'm sure everyone here would love a big hit. Sure, Amick would love a big hit.
That's going to be strike 3 looking. Big time punch out for Bernay. Sits down Amick looking. And that's going to take away that sac fly chance.
Wow, that was a huge out. A little far off the plate. Amick not happy about that call. It's close. It was definitely close. May have been a little too close, in my opinion, but.
The way it goes down is that strike 3 looking, and that is a match going to deal with him.
No.
Need him to be on first base.
That's smart. That's a smart move. I mean, he's got the potential definitely to drive it out of the park.
They want nothing of Blake Burke, and especially with that matchup, righty-lefty. That's typically what Burke feasts off of. I'll sit him right down to first. Brad Keylari will have to be the man. First pitch in, strike 1 called. Lowry looking for his first hit as a Volunteer, 0 for 6. He took over for Villeneuve, who walked last inning and ended up scoring the go-ahead run.
He's got to just take a breath, allow the pressure to just melt away.
That ball skips in front of Mercado. Really good stop back behind the plate. That thing gets past Mercado. That's an easy score for Christian Moore.
Definitely.
Defense on high alert here with 2 down in the inning. Insurance run on third. Bernay has hit his spots this inning, has been efficient.
He's thrown a very good off-speed pitch. We just saw it there.
Counts 2-2. Bernay fires, got Laurie swinging. He's fired up. UNC Asheville still in this thing. They hold Tennessee scoreless in the 8th. The 7th gave them the 3-2 advantage. UNC Asheville did everything they could to keep Tennessee away from adding on to that lead. And now they're within striking range. They know what they need to get.
It has been a very competitive game so far. Both teams punching and honestly playing really solid defense. We've seen some really good pitching on both sides. That's why it's such a close game.
And a lot of trust in redshirt freshman Austin Hunley. Still out there here to start the top of the 9th. And he gets the strikeout. The first of his career. It's a huge out, number 1.
Incredible job by Austin Hunley. Working as a closer and getting his first career strikeout as a Tennessee Volunteer.
Showing a little moxie on that walk-off after the K as well. Looking like his older brother Sean, as he did many times here in Knoxville. He's now got the 9-hole hitter, Ben Hemphill. 1-1 start. Hemphill hit a home run back in the 5th. Tied the ball game at that time. One swing can do the very same again. Roller, third base sided foul. I mean, Hunley was, when he was starting the 8th inning last frame, there were 2 guys in the bullpen, and it felt like, you know, with the way things have gone, maybe they want to get more pitchers in, but Hunley has ridden this thing out. Pitch count up at 41 now, and again, has just gotten better as this outing has progressed.
He's shown a lot of confidence so far.
That's a high fly ball into center. Inslee has it. 2 up, 2 down in the 9th. That is now 3 full innings in the books for Austin Hunley. Only allowed 3 hits, hasn't walked a batter, and got his first strikeout for round number 1 here in the 9th.
It's been a lot of fun, watching this pitcher play, Hunley, and all of the Tennessee pitchers. They've been all showing confidence, even though they are younger. They're freshmen, sophomores is who we've been seeing.
2 straight strikes to start Cole Abrams. The leadoff hitter has a pair of hits, but now down to his final strike. Here's the 0-2. Hundley got him. What a debut for Austin Hundley, and the Volunteers win their home opener.
An absolutely incredible performance tonight from the pitching staff for the Tennessee Volunteers.